I just think that I am also passionately curious about everything, probably as curious as Albert Einstein, and I just want to know the secret of gas. That is all. Albert Einstein wrote as follows: "The important thing is not stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing. One cannot help but be in awe when he contemplates the mysteries of eternity, of life, of the marvelous structure of reality. It is enough if one tries merely to comprehend a little of this mystery every day. Never lose a holy curiosity." Hiroshi Hayashi will present you a video forum on ancient mysteries and wonders of the world. Today's story is about Amadeus Mozart and its mystery about his sudden death. Was he murdered? Then by whom? And why? Wikipedia writes as follows: "The composer Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart died on December 5, 1791, at the age of 35. The circumstances of his death have attracted much research and speculation. Some principal sources of contention are as follows. An early rumor addressing the cause of Mozart's death was that he was poisoned by his colleague Antonio Salieri. This rumor, however, was not proven to be true, as the signs of illness Mozart displayed did not indicate poisoning. Despite denying the allegation, Salieri was greatly affected by the accusation that he had contributed to Mozart's death and contributed to his nervous breakdowns in later life. Beyond the Salieri theory, other theories involving murder by poison have been put forth, blaming the Masons, Jews, or both. One such theory was the work of Mathilde Ludendorff, wife of the German general Erich Ludendorff. William Stafford forthrightly describes such account and outlandish conspiracy theories, giving supporting reasons. Albert Einstein once wrote as follows: "Imagination is more important than knowledge. For knowledge is limited to all we now know and understand, while imagination embraces the entire world and all there ever will be to know and understand." If you wait for perfect conditions, you will never get anything done. Keep on sowing your seed, for you never know which will grow. Perhaps it's all will. Then Albert Einstein also wrote, "A person who never made a mistake never tried anything new." According to the general view of archaeologists, a series of ancient geoglyphs located in the Nazca Desert in southern Peru is a geometric ones which indicate the flow of water or be connected to rituals to summon water. A well-known archaeologist writes as follows: "The spiders, birds, and plants could be fertility symbols. Other possible explanations include irrigation schemes or giant astronomical calendars. I, Hiroshi Hayashi, however, have got a quite different idea, and it's my great pleasure that I can show you my Hiroshi Hayashi's Nazca theory, which proves that these geoglyphs were created in ancient times by aliens who could fly over the Earth. Ladies and gentlemen, here is another evidence of my theory, Lillipata Nazca, the drawings of which is connected with the Pemons legend in Guyana Highlands. A music critic writes as follows: Beethoven composed only one complete ballet in 1801, The Creatures of Prometheus. It is the only one orchestral work that has a harp in it. The foundation of this allegorical ballet is the fable of Prometheus. The philosophers of Greece allude to Prometheus as a lofty soul who drove the people of his time from ignorance, defined them by means of science and arts, and gave them manners, customs, and morals. That is to say that Beethoven wrote his story that basically Prometheus created man and gave man his skills in creativity and logic, or everything that a civilization needs. Zeus, however, according to his ballet, got jealous of this upstart and took away so-called man's fire. Prometheus stole some fire from another god and smuggled it back to man. Zeus later punished Prometheus with some gory animal-inflicted punishment. So the titular of his ballet, The Creatures Are Actually Man. The ballet itself portrays a man and woman being given these artistic and technological gifts and learning to play music and dance from various gods whom Prometheus introduced them to. Whatever the ballet is, one thing is very clear, that the ballet is the one that worships Prometheus as the creator of civilized man. Wikipedia writes as follows: Koma inu, often called lion ducks in English, are statue pairs of lion-like creatures, either guarding the entrance or the inner shrine of many Japanese Shinto shrines, or kept inside the inner shrine itself, where they are not visible to the public. The first type, born during the Edo period, is called Sando Koma Inu, the second and much older type, Jinnai Koma Inu. They can sometimes be found also at Buddhist temples, nobility residences, or even private homes. It is, however, widely believed here in Japan that they are just lion dogs, and Koma Inu literally means guardian dogs. It is also widely believed in academic society they are from China. Hiroshi Hayashi claimed that they are Enlil and Enki, the gods both in Sumer and Japan in ancient times. Here in this video, you see its evidence and proof. According to the Illuminati official website, it reads as follows: The Illuminati is an elite organization of the world leaders, business authorities, and other influential members of this planet. Our collective, unite influencers of the world in an unrestricted and private domain, free of political, religious, and geographical boundaries, to further the prosperity of the human species as a whole. One of the first to begin exposing the US government for what it truly is. William Cooper was killed by authorities, they say, on November the 5th, 2001. Bill Cooper, author of Behold a Pale Horse. Jomon letters, cuneiforms in smell, originated in Japan. Jomon letters were its origin. Unexplained Mysteries website writes about the Virginia UFO incident as follows. In Virginia, Brazil in 1996, it is reported that a number of living aliens were captured following a UFO crash. Local residents claimed that the aliens roamed the streets of the town in the early hours of the day of January the 20th, a number of which got rounded up and escorted away safely by the armed forces aided by local firemen. Rumors suggest not all the aliens got captured and some escaped to the nearby jungle. Reports suggest a total sum of 8 aliens, 1 dead, 2 injured, 1 later dead, 5 unhurt and living unknown, not captured. A number of separate encounters through the day got reported in the Brazilian press, and there are currently 100 to 200 eyewitnesses still living in Virginia. Most of the reports claimed sightings of an alien with a large head and very thin body with V-shaped feet, brown skin, and large red eyes.
A few days later, another eyewitness came forward, an English-speaking lawyer who said she had seen the actual site where the UFO was alleged to have crashed.
I live about 20 minutes from the center of Varginha, right on the edge of the hills and forests which circles the town. It was about 2 a.m. and I was asleep when I heard a huge explosion coming from outside. It sounded like a bomb had gone off, a huge explosion. When I looked out the window, I could see this huge massive fire and smoke coming from the hillside about 1 kilometer from my house. I really had no idea what had happened, but obviously it was that. So I called the fire department immediately in Varginha, but there was no answer, which I thought was strange. But within a few minutes I could hear their sirens, so I guess someone had already let them know. Just a few minutes later I could see like 3 army trucks speeding up in the dirt track, which leads to where the explosions were, and then a helicopter. I remember thinking, why were the army there? And how did they get to this thing so fast? It only happened less than 5 or 6 minutes ago. I kept watching as both the fire department and the army units went right to where the explosion was, but it was way too far for me to see any detail. I started to think that maybe a military plane or a helicopter crashed, and that was the explosion I heard. But I still had no idea what had happened. I remember that the police and the fire department sealed off the whole area. It was only later in the day when I heard the news about these alien things, these creatures in town, and I realized that that might have well been, probably was, the crash site. That's when it all started making sense. I mean, I couldn't see much, just fire and smoke and stuff, but something crashed out there. I can 100% confirm that.
Jomon letters. Japanese archaeologists definitely claim that Jomon people did not have written character or writing system itself. I, Hiroshi Hayashi, have got a quite different idea, and I insist that Jomon people had it. That is to say that Jomon people had written character and writing system, though it had not been deciphered yet. Japanese archaeologists claim that Japanese ancient music was first imported into Japan from China. However, artificially it differs from the music of the corresponding Chinese form yayue, which is a term reserved for ceremonial music. One of them, they claim, is gagaku, classical music at imperial court in Kyoto. Mr. Scott22961, one of my YouTube subscribers, wrote to me as follows. Pine cone is pineal gland. The pine cone is symbolic of the pineal gland or third eye. Now you see why the ancient regarded the pine cone so highly, and furthermore, now you see why the Vatican flaunts this in our faces, as they keep secret like this to themselves. I, Hiroshi Hayashi, would like to say that Vatican is full of mysteries. One of them is a pine cone. Why is a pine cone in Vatican? Dotaku are Japanese bells melted from relatively thin bronze and richly decorated. Dotaku were used for about 400 years between the 2nd century BC and the 2nd century CE and were nearly only used as decorations for rituals as bells. I, Hiroshi Hayashi, claim that they are not bells, but portable astronomical observatory in ancient times in Japan.